Welcome to Impact Signals, Social Impact at the Scale of AI. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Sarah.
It's Sunday, August 16, 2026, episode 105. Today, the rules on public sector AI are being set from outside the systems running it. The largest license plate surveillance vendor in American policing cutting its own data retention after agencies in 23 states walked away, California ordering an AI Cybersecurity Officer into every state agency, and nearly 100 state bills on companion chatbots that do not agree with each other. We start in the United States, where Flock Safety just cut its standard license plate data retention window from 30 days to 7 and made misuse audits mandatory. The company announced it Thursday, August 13.
What makes this significant is that no law forced it. Agencies across 23 states have terminated their Flock contracts, and the company moved its own defaults in response. Retention length and audit logging are now negotiable procurement terms rather than vendor-fixed constants.
The numbers are specific. StateScoop and CNN Business report Flock runs nearly 100,000 cameras across more than 6,000 U.S. law enforcement agencies in every state. Independent testing in Roseville, California found a 71% failure rate on plate reads. Only about 900 of those 6,400-plus agencies disclosed their data sharing agreements.
This is where the field reality matters. Atlanta News' first chief investigator, Brendan Keefe, documented more than a dozen cases over the past year of officers relieved of duty or arrested for allegedly searching the database for personal reasons, including stalking current or former romantic partners, with cases in Georgia, North Carolina, Massachusetts, and Wisconsin. That is a year of documented misuse.
Under the new rules, every search requires a case number, suspicious activity triggers automatic lockouts, and all law enforcement customers must switch on the machine learning audit assistance feature that flags abnormal search patterns for administrator review. The deadline for that is the end of 2026.
Civil liberties groups say it does not reach the core problem. Chad Marlowe, Senior Policy Counsel at the American Civil Liberties Union, said the greatest threat from license plate readers comes not when they are misused, but when they are used as intended. That is the governance line. What is verifiably next is the end of 2026 audit deadline and whether the roughly 5,500 agencies that disclose nothing begin to.
Second signal, California. Governor Gavin Newsom directed on August 10 that every state agency designate an AI Cybersecurity Officer and that an AI cyber defense program be stood up inside the California Cybersecurity Integration Center.
What makes this significant is the part that points outward. The order tells agencies to extend those capabilities to local governments and critical infrastructure operators, and the trigger was a run of coordinated attacks on water utilities across multiple states. Small public water districts have no security staff of their own.
The program applies AI to 3 specific jobs: vulnerability detection, network hardening, and incident response. StateScoop and GovTech both report the administration is calling it a first-in-the-nation arrangement. No budget figure, no headcount, and no implementation deadline was published with the announcement.
Naming an accountable officer inside every agency is what makes this operationally auditable later. Caroline Thomas Jacobs, who directs the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, framed it as service risk rather than IT risk. Attacks are faster, more sophisticated, and more frequent, putting at risk the basic systems families count on. The missing numbers are the story's own next test. The 2 checkpoints on the record are whether the Integration Center publishes the officer roster and whether local water districts end up inside the program.
Story 3, South America. China and Brazil are putting a disaster early warning payload into geostationary orbit. Details of CBERS-5, the 5th satellite in the China-Brazil Earth Resources Satellite Program, were reported on August 14 following technical meetings in May between Brazil's National Institute for Space Research and a Chinese delegation.
What makes this significant is the revisit rate. A geostationary platform stares at the same hemisphere continuously instead of passing overhead on a fixed schedule, so a flood, a landslide, or a fire front can be watched as it develops rather than sampled. Until now, continuous watch over South America has meant foreign polar orbiting constellations and charter activations negotiated event by event.
Brazil builds the platform, China builds the meteorological and environmental payload, and launch is scheduled from a Chinese site in 2030. A second satellite, CBERS-6, is in development in parallel for agriculture, civil defense, and natural disasters, and it will carry radar able to image through rain.
Optical imagery of a flood is useless under cloud, which is exactly when responders need it. The program has run since the 1990 and already supplies the imagery behind Brazil's Amazon deforestation monitoring. So this is an extension of a working pipeline rather than a capability announced from zero. Nothing changes for field teams before the 2030 launch and the CBR-6 radar milestone. Those are the two dates to hold them to.
Story 4. State Legislatures. The Information Technology and Innovation Foundation published a report on August 10 counting nearly 100 state bills introduced so far this year that address chatbot safety, most of them aimed at minors and companion-style conversational AI.
What makes this significant is that the bills do not line up with each other. The report's argument is not that they are unnecessary. It is that their definitions and requirements differ, which produces a compliance patchwork without a matching gain in child safety. For practitioners running youth-facing digital services, chatbot and minor are about to mean different things in adjacent jurisdictions.
California is the worked example. The legislature passed companion chatbot legislation requiring safeguards against sexual content and mandatory AI disclosure, and Governor Newsom vetoed it, on the grounds that the restrictions would have effectively barred minors from conversational AI tools altogether.
Too loose and too blunt, both live in one state in one session. The report proposes an operating system-level child flag that parents set once, so individual AI services do not each collect age data on children. Its author, policy analyst Alex Ambrose, argues policymakers should focus on documented harms instead of importing social media rules that have proven ineffective. The foundation is tech industry aligned, which is worth saying alongside the recommendation.
On the disaster watch, the United States Geological Survey and the Global Disaster Alert and Coordination System are tracking a magnitude 7.7 earthquake 68 kilometers north-northwest of Indonesia from August 14, with roughly 1.2 million people exposed to severe shaking, and at least 47 killed as of BBC reporting on August 15. A separate magnitude 6.9 struck North Sumatra on August 15. The magnitude 7.4 at San Jose del Palmar, Colombia on August 10 is still the highest significance event in the window, with fatalities confirmed and a humanitarian response plan of $10 million announced by the United Arab Emirates. Flooding across multiple Chinese provinces has displaced 302,931 people, and drought across the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda remains on an orange alert.
Colombia is the specific link back to the satellite story. That red alert quake sits in exactly the hemisphere a geostationary payload would watch continuously, and nothing in the CBR's timeline reaches those responders before 2030. Meanwhile, the Indonesia sequence is still producing aftershocks, including a magnitude 6.1 north of End, and search and rescue is running with thousands displaced. Continuous watch is a 2030 capability. The August response runs on what is already in orbit.
Before we close, on the calendar, the International Telecommunication Union announced the 2026 to 2027 cycle of its Robotics for Good Youth Challenge on August 14. National rounds run worldwide through the 2026-27 school year, and the global finals venue has not been set. The through line today is that the rules on public sector AI are being written outside the agencies running it, by contract cancellations, by executive order, and by nearly 100 state bills that do not agree.
The 3 checkpoints with dates attached are FLOC's end of 2026 audit deadline, California's officer roster, and whichever state defines a minor first. The model is the easy part. What gets settled this year is procurement, policy, and who keeps the audit log.
That's Impact Signals for Sunday, August 16, 2026. If this briefing is useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out at impactsignals.ai and share it with someone working in the field.
Stay ready.